Hello and welcome to this ultra quick wrap-up video to my energetic systems level 1. This is kind of the conclusion to that level of lessons for the course. I'm offering this or hoping to do this for each sort of level, both to reiterate and tie up loose ends about the things that I talked about at length in episode 1 and in the 101 class. And also maybe to spark attention of people who haven't seen those videos yet, but see this quick video and are really interested in the things I touch on, the bullet points. So if you're looking for more about what I'm touching on, then you can find the links in the description. With that said, let's jump right into it. First and foremost, what is a system? And I spend time talking about how a system, it's very important that we can understand, it's not just about external manifestations of things that people have built up to do a service of some sort. Yes, that's a slice of the pie, and it's a very crucial piece that we will look at after. But there's a lot more pieces to the whole, and it's very important that we recognize them and we understand those before we take our attention into the external world, because there's a lot of illusions, distortions, and confusions out there that are really done with intention of sort of looping and tripping people up. And if you don't have your inner meters working, you're very likely to be sort of lost in the rabbit holes of external things. And you're to nobody's help, especially not your own help, by doing that with your time and energy. And when you recognize and understand what your time and energy really is, it's your currency, it's your worth, and it's your responsibility, then you'll make more conscious choices anyways. It's going to be a byproduct. We'll get there eventually anyways. So we'll pull back from the external. Is really the starting point is foundational. That's what's underneath the house. It's not about how the house appears to all the neighbors, right? It's not about the paint on the outside or any of that at first. So with the level 1, it's really back to the basics, and it's really introducing some verbiage and some basic workings, and pulling out of these really pigeonholed definitions, like thinking of systems as only outside operations that happen with others in some sort of really 3D kind of way. So what is the system, right? I like to look at systems in the word systems to mean an energy exchange. And I use that word a lot, and sort of I use them interchangeably. And what is an energy exchange, right? This is what brings me to the other really foundational part that I start with in the 101 video, which is talking about 3 basic truths that we all kind of have to get on the same page about. And this is the fact that we live in an energetic universe. And whether, energy I'm using is a very broad term, and I'm using it sort of multifaceted to mean things like, all different spectrums of light and frequency and noise and energy and electricity and all of the above, and ether and things that we can recognize and things that we don't understand. I'm including in this term of energy exchanges. And us being energy beings and this being an energy universe, which is orchestrated somehow. Don't care why. We're not even going to get on about that, but that it's orchestrated by an infinite intelligence of sort that has a purposeful alignment of sorts. And that, if we can get on the same page as understanding that we're all sort of these energetic beings pulsating and radiating out many different kinds of information, whether it's speaking, body language, energy, electricity, heat, your heartbeat, the way you breathe, all of these things are interactions and exchanges, aka systems. Why do I want to look at this like this? Because when we start to pull back and we pull out of the first person view and we start to look at all our interactions as systems, we can more easily be an observer of those systems and see what kind of work they're really doing and whether they're benefiting the whole of our physical vessel and our being and our life and the way we want to move forward, our goals, our dreams for ourselves, right, on our path, or whether they're hindering those, blocking those, we're self-sabotaging in some kind of way, right? Everyone works through these kinds of things. Everyone has a multitude of systems that are functioning in different ways. And many of us, the bosses of those systems are really subconscious, unconsciously being driven by, habitual mind control kind of things. And so this is why I said from the start, it's very important that we just don't even worry about what is external, and we go inwards and we look at our internal systems to start being that observer and looking at ourselves as systems. And that we'll get into more deeply. That's not really a level 1 even foundational thing. That's just to understand the perspective of where we're headed and the importance of why let's take our time and let's look at the foundations of systems first. So basically, when we look at systems, no matter what layering they're working on, we must agree, and this is another part of level 1, that we live in the scope of duality. There is opposition happening. Everything's kind of this give and take, contrasts, comparisons, right? Day and night. We see it mirrored organically everywhere. And that is a truth. And if we accept that truth and we understand that, magnetics, energy, light spectrum, all of these things work and filter through some kind of duality, we should know ourselves do as well. Our systems do as well, right? All systems have the potentiality to operate in a positive alignment or in a negative alignment. And so when we understand that and we start to realize how the orientations work, how they process energy, what they run on, right? What the individual is to the system and why, then we have much greater conscious awareness, more wisdom, more data points, right, to examine our own systems and to ask ourselves these kind of questions that really have to be asked. Am I doing this because it feels good? Am I doing this as I'm offering free service because it feels great and it feels like what I'm called to do? Or do I feel like I'm indentured and tied down and I'm, basically running on an empty tank, always trying to fill it up? And that's more of an internal spectrum. But all systems, even those, like I talked about, the initial ones that we kind of see as obvious systems, they work within the same parameters. They run off these same energetic truths. And once we begin to work and recognize them within ourselves, and we do the troubleshooting practice, the active work of living and interacting with those systems, having responsibility for those systems, then we gain more stability, right? It's kind of like riding a bike. You get the training wheels. The training wheels are on. You're doing your own inner work. You're testing your own systems. You're seeing how to balance things, how to work with negative things and positive things to find an equal ground in between, right? For your own self. You have your own best interest in mind when you're doing this work. Of course you have your own best interest in mind, right? And you can really practice those skills. And then once you get a riding in the middle and you have that sort of balance, then you can take your lens from the inwards looking and we'll look outside and we'll say, how do I interact with my others? And how do I interact with external systems that are already in place out there? That's a whole other working. And you know what? We'll get into that in like level 3, level 4 about external workings, because that takes a lot of sovereign, conscious mindset, responsibility, self-control, kind of to be able to look at that and have real conversations with that. But yes, so these are the main things that really I'm going over in those first episodes. These are the things that hopefully if you've watched those episodes, you're working on them on your own, you're getting more definition, more clarity in those kind of workings with yourself. Just identifying them, and releasing the barricades around what you think a system is and opening up your mind to all different types of systems, even the ones that just organically happen out on nature, that have nothing to do with you and nothing to do with the human input of energy. Look at other systems out there, you know. That's what I'm kind of trying to inspire with the level one thinking. And also, you know, to understand that it is energy transactions and polarity that is sort of our currency. That is the thought world, energetic world, truth behind money, behind fiat currency, paper money, gold, silver, all these kinds of monetary exchanges are only a paralleled reflection of thought world and energetic and spiritual exchanges, of energy exchanges. They've basically taken them out of thought world, right, and honed them down into a three-dimensional space, into physicality, and created a reflection of them. And our internal, the truth, our energy exchanges, our spiritual exchanges, the real truthful one. And that's the one that really matters, and really we should start with first and be honing and toning that. And seeing where we're spending our attention, where we're spending our time, where you're giving your internal flame to, your passions, the things that light you up, where those things are at, and where you feel restricted, or you feel distorted, or maybe even infringed upon by others in that kind of realm. So yes, that's basically pretty much what I want to leave it here. I went a minute over what I wanted to, 11 minutes, but this is probably one of the quicker videos I've ever done. So if you are really interested in hearing more about systems, of seeing some infographics about what I'm talking about between positive and negative systems, more deeply than the little bits I've talked about here, links are below. Feel free to watch those. You can always send me an email or comments. I love to hear from people and hear perspectives, whether you agree or disagree. Hey, all information is welcome, as long as, you know, it's presented in a respectful way, please. And in the meantime, if you're looking for more, you could find me on Telegram, A-Marie Speaks. You could find me on my website directly, www.amariespeaks.com, or you can find videos on YouTube and BitChute. I have a podcast on Spotify as well. So all the links are in below. If you are looking for more from me, you can find them there. Thank you so much for watching this little quick wrap-up for Level 1. I hope you'll catch Level 2, which I'm going to be putting out in this week to come. So yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for witnessing my journey, and I'll see you next time.